Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 4th, 2022 at approximately 6:22 a.m. PST. I do apologize for being away for so long. Actually, in all fairness, I really don't. I disappeared as of Thursday. As I mentioned, I was heading back to my 40-year grad reunion. What I wasn't counting on was requiring the 2 or 3 days recovery time after I got back, simply because of the fact I overextended my leg, and that result couldn't concentrate, couldn't do much of anything. So I ended up laid up for 3 days when I got back. Net result, wasn't doing the videos. However, in that time I did get things a little more organized. So, with that in mind, okay, what you can see behind me is starting to go through the changes, and it is required there. But like I said, uh, let's get through the first parts. Um, I returned to this world for one primary reason. Okay, and that is to remind everybody in existence that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, now there's certain to be some people that are going to argue the point, because those people are the ones that like being in control of everything, like having everything work for them with little regard to the side effects of other people. Now, I classify myself as a spiritual guide because of the fact that the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use, and the philosophies that I talk about are the ones I personally live by. The way I see it, if you're going to claim to be a spiritual guide, you're doing what you're talking about. It's not a question of do what I say, not as I do. It's a question of this is what I'm doing to make my life change, and it's something that has helped other people. So I'm working with this because it applies to me. Give it a shot. If you haven't given it a shot, it may well work for you. To this end, I've got the energy in my office is set up properly. So I'm quite content with that. I'm still working on my left hand, but hey, that's going to be an ongoing process, I suspect. But with that in mind, I don't need this open. With that in mind, there's a couple of things I do want to point out to the end of what I've been aiming for. I now finally have a website up and running. Now, it is a work in progress, so the reality of it is, the best I can tell you is the website itself is rkeithandrews.com. Okay, check it out, take a look. It is focusing on, that particular website is focusing on my writing. Okay, on the books. It'll show you which books are already in print that are available directly through me. Of course, anything that gets ordered directly through me will come signed. But I've included the prices and everything. And I'm still working on getting proper links up and proper hot links up. But check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay. As per usual, I would love to hear your comments in the comment section below. Okay, there's also a whole list of different ways of getting a hold of me listed below this video. Okay. So if you've got questions in literally any field, drop me a line. You know, in any field, doesn't matter what it is. Drop me a line. I will do my best to answer it. If I've got an answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I will just come right out and tell you, look, that's outside of my purview. Okay, now, needless to say, my strongest suit right now, like where it comes to writing, I know exactly what I'm doing. I've just reset things to start working on the compendium in earnest. Because I understand the compendium in my Yldrbac Chronicles won't come out for probably 10 years. Simply because I've got to get all the books written first. And since there's 10 more of them to come out in the Yldrbac Chronicles, we're looking at probably 10 years. Okay. Not to mention, yeah, that'd probably be in about the 10 years. Okay, and then of course all the other books I'm working on. But the real key factor here from your standpoint. Now, for me, the writing started in grade 10. And here I am finally actively getting it set up. I'm also working on a few other projects, but I will keep you posted on those, both through here and through my Facebook links. Okay, my standard Facebook, my normal Facebook page, my Inner Voice Enterprises Facebook page, my Yldrbacian Facebook page. Okay, and of course LinkedIn and Twitter. Now, for those of you that are looking to talk to me directly, okay, in all fairness, the only videos that I work with, okay, I'm just, right now, I work with Skype, I work with LinkedIn, Yahoo Messenger, FaceTime, and as it turns out, I'm just learning how to use Zoom. Okay, not how to host it, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, shall we? But where you come in, take a look at where your life is. Are you content with where it is? Are your finances where you know that you'd like them to be? In other words, you've got the income, you're content with the work you're doing, and you've got your roof over your head, your utilities, living expenses covered. Okay, that's what you focus on to start with. Okay, now I've already got that in place on my end. So take a look at the past goals that you've got. Ones, and I'm talking about back the ones you put on hold even when you were, 16, 17 years old. Gee, I really desire to do that. Now, many of those goals you may have lost interest in. Okay. But if you personally have not lost interest in them, now is the time to start looking at them. Okay. In spite of everything going on, or maybe because of everything going on right now, find a way to focus on the positive things that you can co-create for the future. This is not the time to keep paying attention to all the negative stuff going on. Don't get me wrong. There is a staggering amount of negative stuff going on, but it's not the only thing happening. And that's what people seem to forget. Okay. There are just like there are all kinds of horrendous shootings going on and just random people. It hit pretty close to home the other day. A friend of mine, his cousin, got shot literally at random. Now, the reality is, this is a terrible thing. Okay, it really is. But that same day, I would lay odds that there were a number of weddings taking place. Okay, and this is what I mean by there are good things going on as well. So we have to focus on the positive things that are happening. The more attention we give to the positive, the more attention we give to rewarding ourselves for making a right choice. Okay. The reality of it is when you make the right choice, you should be rewarding yourself. This is why when you get anything in the way of an income coming in, I mentioned right off the bat, before you do much with it. Okay, and this applies if you've got the money coming in, if you're not so tight to the ground, you've got to modify it the less money you have for obvious reasons. Okay, but if you've got a stable income where you are making all of it, where you are covering your living expenses, where you already know those are coming in, this becomes easy. A paycheck from anywhere, work, career, as in a business you own, government, doesn't matter. Any of them. Okay. The moment you get a check coming in, take 1% off the top of every complete $100 and put that in your pocket for mad money. Put that in everybody in the household, everybody's pocket for mad money. And the reason you do that is because it changes the feel of the money from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. That is the real key factor there. Okay, and of course, this thing that I've shown you multiple times before, Okay. We have legally acquired a minimum of the $3,800 here. Change that to what fits for you by August 31st, 2022 at 1 minute to midnight. Okay, my company, Inner Enterprises, has legally generated a minimum of $700 by August 31st, 2022 at 1 minute to midnight. Now understand something. This 700 fits inside this 38. Okay, it's included in it. Now, I am looking at, when you check out the website, you'll find the updated prices of all the books I've got. Okay, including how much of that price is going towards the actual shipping costs. Because I had to rework prices in some cases because I was I was literally losing money on even getting the books printed. Okay, and frankly, and what I mean by losing money is I was not having enough of a profit line to actually reorder any more books. So I had to modify it in order to be able to do so. Okay, same thing goes with you when we're looking at these projects that you're looking at. You've got to have your project. Pick one that you're really focusing on because the reality of it is this. If you're looking at becoming successful, you've got to have a purpose, a plan. You've got to have purpose and a plan. You've got to be persistent with it, and you've got to have the patience to see it through. Because you didn't get to the state you're in, overnight, in all likelihood. Some of you unfortunately have. Okay. And striving to correct damage and to pull out of a nosedive can take a little bit more time. But again, this is something that I have learned how to do. And when I talk about working with each other, one of the primary reasons for putting these videos out is that when I've gone through a whole bunch of things, okay, you're probably going through very similar things to one degree or another. But it's easier to get through them if somebody that has done it successfully points out how to get there. Okay. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I persistent? Well, I'm still breathing. And given that 5 years old, I was diagnosed dead and shipped off to the morgue, persistence has worked really well for me. Okay. But take a look at the goals that you've got and start now I've done a lot in the way of organizing things, but where I desire to go from here, okay, is to get you started. It's time now to change the direction your life is going if you're not happy with it. Okay, if you're not content with every aspect of your life, it's time to start removing the things out of your life that you're not content with. Okay, but the trick to doing that is figure out what you're not content with. That should be the easy part. And then break down the way to change it into smaller tasks of 15-minute to half-hour to 15-minute to half-hour duration each. Well, I think I've got my chair pulled a little forward because that was really tricky trying to get a hold of. But anyway, what you look at is break them down and then start moving the stuff around. Start disposing of the clutter because clutter is, if you liken it to the body, having a lot of clutter in your house is like having a whole pile of cholesterol in your body. Okay. Now, understand where it comes to attaining your goal. And I went through this just the other day with somebody. The reason I say pick one primary goal. Okay. Now, for me, oddly enough, much as I am looking getting married in the future, oddly enough, my primary focus is still getting all 12 of the books of the Yldrbacian Chronicles into print. Okay, that is still my primary concern. Okay, but you pick one because as with everything, you've got to have a direction to go. Well, that one focus is what gets everything to happen because it provides the arrowhead, if you will. Okay, it provides the tip of the spike. Okay, then you've got your finances that have to be moved around it. Okay, that would be the binding of the arrowhead to the arrow. Okay, then you've got to have a way of a vehicle, if you will, to get that arrow where it's going. Well, that vehicle is the shaft. Okay, and that's where a lot of the finances and a lot of the rearranging the energy goes. Is it puts that arrow in place. The important factor with getting the energy moving is that's how you get the feathers on it. Now the reality of it is now you've got an arrow, and this is just a real short, kind of haphazard way of explaining it in some ways. But once you've got that arrow, now you have to get the bow in place. Okay, the thing to make this all work. But all of it boils down to a single focus of what you're aiming at. Now, where it comes to your goals, they may not be the same as mine. Okay, but as I mentioned, you've got to have a definitive purpose, a definitive point. What is your primary focus? Now, I'm not the one to tell you whether it's a good focus or a bad focus. However, I can point out, if you ask, I can point out whether or not the focus you've got is getting you where is likely to get you where you're aiming. Pardon that. This is a live recording, and with that in mind, okay, these hiccups and what have you, or in this case, that yawn, is going to be on video because when I get done this, I simply double check the date and post it as is. Okay. Now I end up dropping an entire week. Hopefully, I haven't lost. I haven't lost a lot of you. Okay, but we will find that out shortly enough because I haven't even looked at the YouTube channel yet to find out. Okay, but where it comes to, from your standpoint, get that goal in mind. What is your primary goal? Is your primary goal, is it getting your house sorted out? Is it getting your finances turned? Finding a better job, a more enjoyable job, if you will, or starting your own business? Okay, any of these is viable. Maybe you simply desire to travel the world. Okay, any goal at all. I'm not the one to limit it. I'm not the one to tell you what's important to you. Okay, I am the one to tell me what's important to me. Okay, and I am the one to put my own boundaries in place. And again, this is something that is very critical. Take a look at your life philosophy and ask yourself, are you content with the way you're being treated? Are you content with the way you're treating others? And I only follow 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay. Now, if you look at any of the laws you follow, whether they're personal, spiritual, legal, doesn't matter. Okay. Any one of those laws, from everything I've seen, will fit inside the 3 I follow. Now, the advantage I get, in my opinion, is simple. By following those 3 laws, okay, I only have to remember 3. Okay, but I will tell you this. I'm 59 now, and getting back together with some of my with my reunion has really brought home the idea that it's time to reconnect. It's way overdue time to reconnect with people. So what I'm going to end up doing here, because I've got a bunch of emails, okay, and I'm going to reconnect with some of the people that are still alive. Okay. Needless to say, I can reconnect with the ones that are deceased, but, well, that may not be needless to say. On top of everything else, I'm also a working medium. Okay. But it is very important to reconnect with those from your past, because right now it may not matter. Okay, your classmates, you may have drifted so far apart that they don't matter to you right now. But I will tell you, especially if you're younger, I'm 59 right now, and this issue of starting to lose friends and find out that lots of people are passing away, it is a part of life, and one of the things that binds all of us together. Every single one of us is going to die. Okay, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how much money you have. Okay, you are going to die. And the other reality of it isn't going to matter how much money you've got, how much material stuff you've got. You're not taking it with you. Okay, it's just not going. Now, most of the people I work with, most of the people I graduated with, are doing reasonably well. One in particular is doing phenomenally well, but that's one out of the entire class. That's about, I think there were 150, so we're looking at about 1.5% of the people that I was talking to are extremely well off. Okay, the majority are doing well enough. Okay, are doing functionally well. Bills are being paid, that sort of thing. Okay, but in my eyes, they may be more comfortable than I am, but we're talking the working poor. You still have to work. One of us is at a point where they really don't have to, at least not from what they were saying. But it's very important to reconnect with the people that are making your memories and really forging your life, helping you forge out the life you've got. Now, if you're happy with the life you've got, this is more incentive to get back to them, to reconnect before you drift too far apart. Because some of the people I'm striving to find are going to be a royal pain, but I'm going to start looking for them. Okay. That's one of the big things that you really, as you get older, you'll find this out. Don't take my word for it. But, well, actually, in this case, if you're in your 20s and 30s, if you're just graduating sort of thing, absolutely take my word for it. Because if you wait until you're in your late 50s to sort of reconnect, it's going to be a royal pain. Okay, so maintain those connections because, in all fairness, and I've mentioned this before, the reality is no individual is an island unto themselves. You all are going to require connections down the road. Okay, even the most reclusive individual, and rest assured, I've spent a lot of years that way, will get to a point where you'd like to have somebody around you. Okay, because there's this issue. Many people are afraid of death. We're taught to be afraid of death. I failed in that one. I really don't have a fear of it. Although I'm not looking to end it anytime soon. Quite honestly, I'm 59 right now. Okay, I'm looking at making 100 and hitting 137. Why? Because I desire to see the 22nd century in functionally good shape. So I'm going to do everything I can to reset my body, to repair the damage, so that I can actually attain that. And when I say reasonably functional, I literally mean, if I end up in a wheelchair, I'll work with it. But even in a wheelchair, I still have full mobility within reason. I'll still have what I desire to do. But this is my own goal. And yes, that means I've got to be here for another 80 years, roughly. Okay. And that's okay. I'm quite happy with that. Okay. So this is one of those goals that I've got. The primary at this point is the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Pick a direction. Doesn't matter what direction it is. But you start eliminating everything or altering everything about you and about the environment you're living in, the environment you're working in. Okay. Alter the energy so that it is cooperating with you to attain what you personally are aiming for. Okay. That is the real key factor because every one of you Number one is, like I said, we are all going to die. Nobody's taking their material stuff with them. And I will tell you, no matter how you do it, okay, we're all essentially the same. Okay. My goal in this case is to simply let people know let people know how I've gotten through various different challenges, because my hope is that by laying out the tools I personally use that I know work, I can point you in a direction to save you a whole lot of headaches. Okay. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I going to be honest with you? You'll have to take my word for that one. But thus far that I'm aware of. Now, when I was a kid, I probably did lie. I have no doubt I did. Okay. But since I hit about 20 years old, to the best of my recollection, I've only ever lied to one person to make them feel better. And that was at the direct request of that person. They literally came to me at a fair, and they told me flat out, I don't want to know my future or my past. I just want to feel better about my life. I don't care if you lie to me. As a matter of fact, he says, absolutely lie to me. Paint a picture that I can look at and I can gain some hope out of. That is the only time that I've ever in the last almost 40 years lied to anybody to make them feel better, and that was at their direct request. Now, I will tell you, the effort of changing your life from where it is to where you desire it to be, okay, is going to take effort. Okay. The reality of it is, like this ring, one of the reasons I have this ring, this was a gift, this was a ring that I got from my brother. And all it is sterling silver and malachite. Okay. But this one I got from my brother it came as part of his estate to me. And this is my brother that passed away 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago now. Okay. And this is simply a reminder to me that pick a goal. And what he told me was, whatever you desire to do not let anybody talk you out of it. Okay. As long as what you're doing is legal. Okay. And as long as what you're doing is legal and does not deliberately hurt other people, do not let yourself, do not let anybody talk you out of obtaining it. Now, do understand, if you start doing something and you find out it's accidentally hurting people, by continuing to do it, you're now deliberately hurting somebody. Now, with this in mind, okay, I will be back again tomorrow. Okay. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.